One of those days. Yeah. No, it's Monday, July 3rd. Tomorrow is July 4th. This vlog is being uploaded tomorrow, July 4th. So I just want to say in advance, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day to all of my American viewers. All right, so Independence Day in the U.S., okay? I've seen those videos on YouTube where they're asking people questions on the street and, you know, like making Americans look stupid by asking them questions that they can't answer. And I think that they're rigged. But anyway, a lot of them don't seem to know what Independence Day is. So I'm just going to read this here. About Independence Day, okay? So it says, Independence Day, also referred to as the 4th of July or July 4th, is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the adoption of the Declaration of Independence 241 years ago on July 4th, 1776. The Continental Congress declared that the 13 American colonies regarded themselves as a new nation, the United States of America, and were no longer part of the British Empire. The Congress actually voted to declare independence 2 days earlier on July 2nd. Independence Day is commonly associated with fireworks, parades, barbecues, carnivals, fairs, picnics, concerts, baseball games, family reunions, and political speeches and ceremonies, in addition to various other public and private events celebrating the history, government, and traditions of the United States. Independence Day is the National Day of the United States. Let's see, background. During the American Revolution, the legal separation of the 13 colonies from Great Britain in 1776 actually occurred on July 2nd, when the Second Continental Congress voted to approve resolution of independence that had been proposed in June by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, declaring the United States independent from Great Britain rule. After voting for independence, Congress turned its attention to the Declaration of Independence, a statement explaining this decision, which had been prepared by a committee of 5 with Thomas Jefferson as the principal author. Congress debated and revised the wording of the Declaration, finally approving it 2 days later on July 4th. A day earlier, John Adams had written to his wife Abigail, and this is what he wrote. The second day of July 1776 will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be commemorated as the Day of Deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations, from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forevermore. Adams' prediction was off by 2 days. From the outset, Americans celebrated independence on July 4th, the date shown on the much publicized Declaration of Independence, rather than on July 2nd, the date the Resolution of Independence was approved in a closed session of Congress. Interesting. Historians have long disputed whether members of Congress signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th even though Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin all later wrote that they had signed it on that day. Most historians have concluded that the Declaration was signed nearly a month after its adaptation on August 2nd, 1776, and not on July 4th, as commonly believed. Coincidentally, both John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, the only signers of the Declaration of Independence, later to serve as presidents of the United States, died on the same day, July 4th, 1826, which was the 50th anniversary of the Declaration. Although not a signer of the Declaration of Independence, James Monroe, another founding father who was elected as president, also died on July 4th, 1831. He was the third president in a row who died on the anniversary of independence. Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president, was born on July 4th, 1872. So far, he is the only U.S. president to have been born on Independence Day. Interesting. Observance. In 1777, 13 gunshots were fired in salute, once at morning and once again as evening fell. On July 4th in Bristol, Rhode Island, Philadelphia celebrated the first anniversary in a manner a modern American would find quite familiar. An official dinner for the Continental Congress, toasts, 13-gun salutes, speeches, prayers, music, parades, troop reviews, and fireworks. Ships in port were decked with red, white, and blue bunting. In 1778, from his headquarters at Ross Hall near New Brunswick, New Jersey, General George Washington marked July 4th with a double ration of rum for his soldiers and an artillery salute across the Atlantic Ocean. Ambassadors John Adams and Benjamin Franklin held a dinner for their fellow Americans in Paris, France. In 1779, July 4th fell on a Sunday. The holiday was celebrated on Monday, July 5th. In 1781, the Massachusetts General Court became the first state legislature to recognize July 4th as a state celebration. In 1783, Moravians in Salem, North Carolina, held a celebration of July 4th with a challenging music program assembled by Johann Friedrich Peter. This work was titled The Psalm of Joy. This is recognized as the first recorded celebration and is still celebrated there today. In 1870, the U.S. Congress made Independence Day an unpaid holiday for federal employees. In 1938, Congress changed Independence Day to a paid federal holiday. And then it goes on to list the customs. Yeah. So anyway, so that's a brief history, whatever. I mean, if you want to read more, just go to the Wikipedia page on Independence Day in the U.S. I just figured that I would share that with you just in case you're unfamiliar with the history of Independence Day. Whether you thought this was good or bad, please leave a comment and let me know exactly how you felt about it. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you can watch more. And most importantly, take it easy.